This is Justin Hogan of the Leeds Herald, and we're here with Miss Lois Hill. She's turning 100 years old this February 5th. And Miss Hill, where did you grow up? I understand you grew up in Slocum, Alabama?
Yeah.
What was it like growing up there?
Well, it was just a small town, and the people were very friendly, and I don't know, it just seemed like everybody was just like a big family. We'd get together and have a good time, and I liked living there. And I lived right across the highway that went from Hartford to Dothan, and from the school. And I had to go a block to school.
So you had a short walk then?
Oh yeah, I could hear the first bell ring, and jump off the front porch and run and get there in time to answer for the roll call. And so that's where I went to school, and that's where I finished high school there. At that one place.
You graduated in 1930, right?
Yeah, I guess it was about 30.
And what did you like to do at school? I understand you liked sports there.
Oh yeah, sports. And then I would take guys to the football. We didn't have buses carrying them. You had to go in individual cars. And one other girl would go with me, and then I'd take four guys as players, 3 in the back seat, and then you didn't have to buckle up on seat belts then. And one of the guys would sit up front with us, and then we'd take off to the ball games wherever we went.
So that was how they got to the game. You
yeah, that was the ball players that I was taking. Yeah,
well, things have certainly changed since then.
My dad, we had a car that the family used. I used it most, and my dad had his, and so, but I'd take these guys to football games and all over the state. And we had a good time.
And I understand you also like to play basketball.
Oh yeah, I played basketball the 4 years of high school on the first team. I could move then. I didn't have to have that. That's when I was saying I didn't weigh but 90 pounds. And I mean, I could run.
Yeah, and you said you had a problem getting up to 100 pounds, and
yeah, oh yeah, I didn't get up to 100 pounds till I think my senior year.
I know some of us wish we had that problem. I understand your father, he owned a turpentine business.
Yeah, he run the turpentine business, and he had to go down to Live Oak, Florida one time, and he came out to the school, to the offices, to get me to drive for him down there. He said that was just so far he never would get down there. So he came out and got me, and I went up there, And so I asked him, I said, Papa, I said, have you got good tires on that? He had a station wagon. He said, yeah, honey, I got good tires on it. So I said, well, you know you don't never drive more than 50 miles an hour. I said, now, you want to get down to Live Oak, Florida, I'm going to drive faster than that. He says, well, I don't care how fast you drive, my tires are good. So we started out. Before we even got to the Florida line, I'd already blown out one tire. He had to put a new one on there. We got it right over into the Florida line, the next back tire blew out. I said, I thought you had good tires. He said, I've never had a wild woman up driving before. He said, that's all right, that's all right. When we get down there, I'll have some good tires, looks like. But I had a good time. I took him lots of places.
I understand you also drove a truck for him for his turpentine.
Yeah, that was my fun time. I would drive the workers out to the, if a regular driver something happened, well, Papa, he'd call the house and tell me to come down and take the men out to the woods where they dip the turpentine. And so is one old black man. I love to tease him. His name was John Henry. And he says, Miss Lois? I said, yeah, John Henry. He said, is you going to take us out to where we work? I said, yeah, when I get out there, I'm just going to dump you out. And said, you won't have to get off, I'm just going to dump you out. Oh, Miss Lois, don't do that. It says, that wasn't even a dump truck. He didn't, he thought I had some way I could dump him off. You know? And so I took him on out there, and he just, and then one time I went home on a visit, and I went downtown with my mother, and he was on the street, and he couldn't say Jernigan, he said Johnigan. He said, Miss Johnigan, said, is that Miss Lois walking there with you? I said, yeah, and you're John Henry. And he just laughed. He said, I sure is, Miss Lois. I'll never forget that. But I had a lot of fun with, but those men were very respectful toward me. And when I would take them out there. But I like that, I'd tease them about, I was going to dump them out the truck. No. But I could drive anything. I started driving when I was 14 years old. You know, that's before you had to have a driver's license.
So, I also understand you were struck by lightning when you were younger.
Oh yeah, that was when I was 7 years old. I had a streak down the side, and it hit me back behind my head, and it just burned my hair to my head, and it had to grow out some before they could cut that off. And it was like, you know how burned hair is. It had to grow out a little bit before they could get scissors back there to cut it off. And the man that's working for us he was he was muscling me out on his arm. He said, and he had his arm out. Now that's how big I was, and I had my hands up like that, and on his hand, and that lightning knocked me off of his arm, and he didn't even know it. It scared him so bad, he didn't even know it. He ran out of the kitchen, and my mother saw me lying there, and she come in and picked me up and carried me out. It was about 3 months before I really got back to halfway normal. It knocked me senseless. And the doctor told my mother to just keep me busy doing something. But unless everybody was doing something, I wouldn't. I'd just sit down too. But it didn't register that she was telling me to do something, see. And so she told him, all right now, if you're not going to do anything, get out of her sight, so she'll keep busy. And so they learned to get out of sight. And I'd do anything they tell me to do as long as everybody else was doing something. But if somebody sat down, I sat down too.
Well, obviously it worked. Whatever it was, so.
But then all of a sudden it just cleared off, cleared away again. Of course, I've never been any too bright, but
I don't know about that. You're still here, almost 100, and I know people who are much worse off. So, you've lived a lot longer than most of us. I probably think we will. Has age taught you anything that you could share?
I can't think, except I'm not as steady. When I'm here by myself, I use this all the time, but when I'm out, just go out, I use a walking cane. But I have to have something to balance me. If I didn't, I guess I'd just be staggered. But outside of that, all right.
So, like I said, it's a lot of us don't even imagine making it to 100. Is there any reason why you think you've lived this long?
Good Christian life. She don't drink. She don't. Being a good Christian woman, that's what did it.
Yeah, I am a Christian. Now that's for sure. And I don't talk about somebody either.
Not a gossiper.
Huh?
Not a gossiper.
No,
you don't gossip.
Man, I don't gossip about nobody.
And you had a good
I let everybody live their own life, and I live mine.
You had a good husband.
Huh?
Your husband, you had a good husband.
Oh yeah, I had it. He died in 91.
What's your husband's name?
John Wesley.
Where did you meet him?
In Bessemer, Alabama. I visited my sister that was living in Bessemer then, and that's where I met him.
What did you like about him?
What did I like about him?
Yeah.
Well, he was just kind and friendly. I just liked the way he acted. He wasn't a smart aleck. If he'd have been a smart aleck, I'd have tuned him out right quick. But he was a very kind person. But he loved to fish and hunt and things like that, and I always tried to make arrangements so he could get to go as often as he could. And but when he came in on payday, he came in, he signed his check, and he gave it to me. And he told me how much money he needed. So I went to the bank, I took care of all the banking, and then I gave him his money. And if he run short during the week, he'd say, I've run short. Do you have any to spare? I said, yeah, I kept out some extra for you. So I give it to him. But I always kept out a little extra for him. So if he did run short, but he'd have it.
That's the way my grandmother did with my grandfather. He worked for a steel company, and she always handled the money.
I did. He didn't want no part of that. He said, you just take care of that. You pay the bills, and I'll make the money. You pay the bills. And so I paid all the bills. I took care of everything, and like us, he never did ask how much money we had left or out of the check or anything. He just told me how much he needed. And outside that, that's all he wanted to know about. So you took care of the rest.
I understand you like puzzles.
Oh yeah. I got a closet full over there. Oh, I've got a real pretty one over here under this tablecloth. I didn't take it down. That was so pretty I didn't want to take it down.
I can understand that.
I've put every one of those together.
Wow. Well, all of them?
Yeah. And Miss Lever's husband made me a board, fixed me a board and put a little ridge on all the way around where they wouldn't go off, and man, I've enjoyed that board more than that. If you'll keep your mind on it, you get it in there.
And you also like reading mystery novels, right?
Yeah. Oh, I love mystery novels. Figuring out who the guilty guy is.
Can you usually figure it out before you get to the end?
Yeah. I love to read mysteries.
Which ones do you like the best? Is there any author you really like?
I read the detectives. I like the detectives the best. It makes you think more about it.
What are some of the things that you still like to do, like going to church?
Yeah, oh yeah, I like to go to church, but I've got to where I don't care about going anywhere much now, because my balance is not real good, and I just as soon sit here and read or something like that rather than get out and go anywhere.
So, Sean, can you think of anything else to...
She had a son.
Oh, can you tell us about your son?
My son, oh, he was a drunk woman ran across the meet him as he's coming in from work one day and killed him, run into his car and killed him. That's the only child I had.
Sorry to hear that.
My grandson and daughter-in-law, they were calling, and they called me, and they were both crying so, and I told them, I said, now one of you's got to stop crying, and tell me what's going on down there. They lived in Gulf Shores, and I was up at Cropwell. And so finally they told, I got out, got them quieted to where they tell me what it was. And I said, well, it's dark now and I can't see the drive at night. But I said at daylight, I'll leave here at daylight and I'll be down there. And at daylight the next morning I got in my car and I took off. And I went to Gulf Shores. But that was no problem for me, because I could drive down there without any trouble. But I drove till I had a car till I was 96. And I decided I better not drive anymore. And I sold my car so I wouldn't drive.
But you have a grandson, right?
Yeah, I have a grandson. That's all. Just that grandson. He lives in Denham Springs, Louisiana.
Does he visit occasionally?
Huh?
Has he visited any times recently?
He hasn't been up here lately, but he calls often. At least once a week.
And I understand you also have 3 nieces, right?
Yeah, I got 3. Yeah, I got 3 nieces.
Drive to California once.
Yeah, I went across that bridge out there, that San Francisco bridge, that big old long bridge. That my son was in the Navy, and he was on leave, and so my husband told that we were all just sitting around, and he said, Ruby was my son's wife, said, why don't you and Lois just drive him out to San Francisco? And that's when we went to San Francisco. So we took off. We said, well, we hadn't thought about it. And so we just got out and we sightseeing all along, you know. And right at the last, we had the last day, we had to drive all day that day because we was running late. And because we had to take him out clear out to San Francisco Bay to catch a ship. That's when we went across San Francisco. That little long bridge, you know. We went across that bridge over to the bay, and for him to catch a ship. Well, I did all that driving out there because Adabel was going to drive some, and I was sitting over there and I closed my eyes to rest my eyes, and I opened my eyes, and she's right in the middle of the road. And I said, hey, pull over here. I said, I don't like your driving you in the middle of that road. What? I said, can't you see that line? I said, you're in the middle of the road. She pulled over. I got back under that wheel. But then I could drive all day. I could drive as far as I could ride, and it didn't bother me. I could drive better than watching somebody else drive, especially somebody that wouldn't stay on their side of the road.
Sometimes you got to take over. Well, thank you, Miss Hill. You've lived a really colorful life, and I want to wish you a happy 100th birthday.